This French provincial buffet was beautiful, but I felt like it was missing something. After getting a coat of paint on it, I decided to add some WoodUbend moldings to add some character to the piece. This large medallion fits the style and the size of my piece perfectly. It looks like it's original to the piece. I also added some keyholes to the drawers that are very in keeping with the French provincial style. Because I already had a coat of paint on my piece, I went ahead and pre-painted my WoodUbend moldings. Then I went ahead applying the Titebond Quick and Thick adhesive to the back of my molding, making sure I get all of the edges for good adhesion. I'm just using my finger to spread out the glue on the back of the molding. This makes sure I have a nice thin layer overall, but not so much that it's globbed in spots and it's going to ooze out the edges when I attach it. Now that I've got an even coat of adhesive on the back of my molding, I'm going to go ahead and apply it to my piece, just eyeballing it for center. Once I've got my placement right, I'm going to go ahead and take my heat gun and heat my molding. The heat is going to start to soften the WoodUbend molding and make it mesh into the surface of my piece. This apron has a slight curve to it, so the heat of the heat gun is going to allow my WoodUbend molding to just curve to the slight curvature of this front. By pressing the warmed molding into the front of my piece, it just seats it really nicely. You won't have any gaps in between the molding and the face of the piece. Any glue that comes out around the sides, I do clean off with my finger, but this glue does dry clear, so you won't even see it once it's dry. Now that I've got one side placed, I'm going to go ahead and heat my other side and get that melded into the curvature of this apron. You can use painter's tape to hold your molding in place while your glue dries. In this case, I didn't even need it. With all of my molding heated, I just press it in, making sure that it's seated all the way around the edges. Once my glue dries, I'm going to go ahead and add a second coat to the rest of my piece, including my moldings. With the second coat over the top, it's going to look like it's original to the front of this piece. When I back away, you can see what a nice detail this added to an otherwise really plain front. I went ahead and got a second coat of paint on this piece, and now I'm going to come back and I'm going to distress my WoodUbend moldings. One nice thing about WoodUbend is that because they're made of wood, you can distress them to match distressing on your piece, and it's going to show through to the wood on the molding. Distressing the molding was perfect for this look because things like dark glaze will not show up on my dark finish. This beautiful molding really added the wow factor to the front of this piece. If you like this video, I hope you'll click the subscribe button. You can find more Brush by Brandy on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube.